And Zahir Shah was another crew just trying to make it to the finish. Problems with the accelerator linkage hampered progress, but they still managed to complete every stage of the event and were lying in 32nd position. The beautiful Alpine of Charles Firmenich managed to complete all 3 stages without any problems, the car still sounding wonderful and getting big cheers wherever it passed. The final day of the event would again consist of 3 stages. The first running from Motate back to Maungu, the first part of which was a reverse of the McKinnon Road to Motate stage run 8 days previously. Then down to Samburu and a loop around Kinango and back to the Mombasa Road at Mazeras. The crews would arrive at the finish on the coast back at White Sands Hotel by lunchtime. With a 7-minute lead and only 3 stages left, you could be forgiven for thinking Duncan would coast to the finish. Instead, he set fastest times on the first 2 stages, opening the gap from Waldegard to almost 10 minutes. Bjorn had a small incident in the first stage. Slipping wide, he knocked the rear bumper off the car, damaging the exhaust system. He had to back off, just so he could hear Iqbal through the intercom. For Steve Perez, the last day was not without its dramas. They picked up 3 punches on the first 2 stages. They'd done the whole rally up to this point puncher-free, so they must have thought someone was having a laugh. The time lost had no real impact on their position overall, and they brought the 280Z home for a memorable podium finish. Gerard Marcy was 4th overall. He must have been wondering what could have been, but a fantastic drive to climb back up the leaderboard was reward for this extremely talented driver. 5th went to rally newcomer Thomas Floor, partnered by the experienced co-driver Didier Breton. They picked up a puncher on the first section, but otherwise had no problems. An incredible result from Thomas, who has definitely caught the rally bug and will no doubt be back in 2011. Graham Alexander brought his Datsun 280Z home in 6th. The spin and consequent loss of time coming out of Amboseli possibly costing him a higher finish, but it was still a great result from the Australian. Steve Troman brought the beautiful Martini livery Porsche home in 7th, a stunning example of consistency being rewarded with results. With no major mechanical woes and consistent times, it was a very enjoyable event for the Englishman on his 2nd time out. The Kronos Porsche of Jean-Pierre Mondron came in 8th. Stuck in a Tuthill sandwich, he would have to keep up the pressure to the end, with only 2 minutes separating him from Troman ahead and Paul-Eric Jarry behind. The car had performed without a hitch all event, and Jean-Pierre had his first taste of a real African safari. Paul-Eric Jarry brought the 4th Tuthill Porsche home in 9th, completing a good result for the team. The event was faster than he remembered in 2007, problems in the dust of Longido where he damaged the front end, robbing him of a better result. Jeff Bell rounded up the top 10. The car looking a little worse for wear after the crash the previous day cost him a top 5 position. But that's rallying, and the safari is always unpredictable. A fantastic event all round for Jeff, who had shown what can be done in a much less powerful machine. Jonathan Savage and Aziz Tejba were locked in battle right up to the final control. Aziz had the advantage going into the final day, but it was Jonathan that would finish 11th by just 2 seconds after 2,057 competitive kilometres. Aziz was caught in a Savage sandwich, with the 180B of Quentin and Russell finishing just behind him. The boys had become the talk of the rally and will definitely be ones to watch in the future. Heavily modified and still in test mode, the beautiful Alpine of Eric Comas made it to the finish, even if it was in last place. However, he did manage to set a top 10 time on the final day, showing the little car's potential for 2011. And so to the finish ramp in Mombasa and a colourful reception outside the White Sands Hotel. Ian Duncan and Amar Slach in the mighty Ford Mustang took victory in the 2009 Kenya Airways East African Safari Classic Rally. They had led from the first day, setting 12 fastest times out of 24 stages, punches on the Northern Loop and the distributor failure on the previous day, the only times they were in any real danger of losing the lead. This victory completes the trophy cupboard for Ian, who won the Modern Era Safari in 1994 and is a multiple Kenyan champion. It was a popular victory, restoring Kenyan pride and bringing the silverware home.
The last couple of days it gets less and less fun and more serious as it goes on, but yeah, it was great, absolutely wonderful. I think we had a really good time, a lot of it, like especially earlier on when it doesn't really it's not so serious. So yeah, some sections were really nice.
Bjorn Voldegaard and his new son, Iqbal Sagu, took second overall. They were the only crew to really challenge for the lead. Bjorn is so popular in Kenya, he's been coming back for over 30 years, and crowds lining the route make Kenya a second home for him. The winner in 2007, we hope to see him back in 2011 to once again fight for the crown.
Highlights is to come back in second place with my new son.
Steve Perez rounded up the podium in a position he had held since day 3. A steady drive by the multiple British champion who returned after retiring in 2007. It was a dream come true for Steve, who likened his podium finish to winning the British Championship, a testament to the challenge and popularity of this great event. After 10 days of competition and almost 4,000 kilometres, the 2009 event came to a close. It had been an event of mixed fortunes for many of the competitors. Changeable weather conditions that often meant the middle order were driving a different rally to the leaders. But for one and all, a thoroughly enjoyable event. See you in 2011.